Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby, and today I'm going to be doing some summer book recommendations. I don't know about you, but when I picture myself reading in the summer, I always picture like young adult contemporaries. I rarely ever read young adult contemporaries these days, but for some reason in the summertime, like that is the time of year where I gravitate towards them the most. I just think in the summer, I either like to read really light, fluffy, easy to read books that make you feel good, or I like to read kind of like popcorn thrillers, like something that's easy to read like when you're on a beach or something but it still surprises you. And romance too. I don't know why, I feel like summertime is the time of year where I gravitate towards romance books the most. So I have a wide variety of some different summer recommendations that are either books that I personally read in the summer and really loved that I read them in the summer, or books that I wished I had read during the summer. Before we do jump into the books, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. It's curated specifically for learning, meaning that there are no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes so that you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. Practice makes progress, and there's nothing better than getting better. I recently just started taking this class called From Clueless to Content Creator, making engaging videos that attract an audience. And this one's great because even though I've been a content creator for over 6 years now, I still always find it really interesting to learn more from other content creators, and I always learn something from taking classes like this. And I also thought he had really great advice for someone who's maybe just starting out on YouTube with how to get more comfortable on camera, how to edit your videos. But if this class doesn't interest you, they offer classes in many other creative topics like creative writing, directing, cinematography, illustration, animation, graphic design. If you can think of it, it's probably there. So the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare's premium membership so that you can explore your creativity. Thank you so much again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video and supporting my channel. Now without further ado, let's just jump into the book recs for the summer. I think I'm gonna start with the young adult just because those ones really speak to me as the most summer vibes on this whole list. The first one, of course, I would recommend is Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe. Not only because it's freaking exceptional, incredible, one of my favorite books of all time, but also because the sequel finally got announced and the sequel is coming out this fall. So I feel like reading it this summer would just be the perfect experience. I feel like I might reread it this summer, but this book is a book that I read way back in the day. Like this is one of the first books that got me into reading. I read this in June of 2014 and it was actually the first book that I ever reviewed on my Bookstagram. And this book just means so much to me. It follows these two young boys, Aristotle and Dante, who are just trying to figure out life, and they have this really beautiful friendship that maybe might seem like more of a friendship, and neither of them know how to go about this and how to navigate their feelings for each other. It's just one of the most beautiful fucking stories. It takes place in Texas in the 1980s and I just absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite written books of all time. Like it's so well written, it's so lyrical, and it moves me. I've read this book a few times now and it moves me every time. Some other young adult books that I think would be perfect to read in the summer is the Heartstopper series by Alice Oseman. I have only personally read these first two books, so I'm thinking this summer I might read 3 and 4 because the third one's been out for a while, but the fourth one I'm pretty sure just came out, or maybe it's not even out yet for the US. I'm not too sure. But this series is so adorable. It's just this light-hearted gay romance between these two boys, Nick and Charlie, and it's a graphic novel, so it's really stunning to look at. This version that I have has like teal. This series is just so cute. It's so lighthearted and it's so perfect to read in the summer. And not only that, but they just announced Heartstopper is going to be a TV series on Netflix. They already announced the cast and everything. Like it's ready to go. So maybe read the books this summer before the Netflix series comes out soon. One book and one author that just screams summer to me is Casey West. And especially her books kind of like Love, Life, and The List. These books just feel so summery vibes to me, and I feel like I only want to read Casey West in the summertime. This book especially is fun because it's like a young adult romance novel, but it also involves a list of like all the things that she wants to do for like the whole summer. I don't know why, I really like love books that do this kind of thing. Same goes for like Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This is another one where there's kind of like, it's like a summery vibe and there's like a list of all the things they want to do in the summer. I don't know, I just think that's such a fun trope. I love it so much. Another book that's not young adult, but it also does this trope of like completing a checklist is Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which I think this would also be like a fun romance book to read during the summer. I don't know why, I just find it so like summer vibes to be like, I'm gonna have a checklist of all the things I want to do this summer, and we get to follow the character as they like come out of their comfort zone and do all of these things on a checklist. I just think that's like such a fun idea. And I can't remember if this one takes place in the summer specifically or not, but there is like a checklist involved for her to get a life, and it's a fun time. Another summery book is Summer of Salt by Katrina Leno. I will warn you that this book is a little bit darker than the cover might imply and might make you think. So I would look up some trigger warnings for this book because this book is a little bit darker than I expected. But this one's really great and really summery because it involves these girls who have these like magic abilities, and our main character is trying to figure out what her magic ability is because all the women in her family have magical abilities, and it all takes place on this island. And I can't remember if our main character is bisexual, but she has a relationship or feelings for a girl in this book. So there's just so much to love about this book, and I thought it was so good. Another book that takes place on an island, and that's why it gives me summer vibes, is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This one is about this man who goes to this orphanage home that's on this island, and he meets this guy there that owns the orphanage, and it's just one of the softest books to exist ever. And I think because it's like on an island, it kind of gives me those like summer vibes. Another young adult contemporary book that gives me summer vibes is I'll Meet You There by Heather Demetrios. And this is another one that I read so long ago now. Like I'm pretty sure I read this one in 2014 or 2015, but I really loved this book when I read it. And I think it's because this book has these like summer motel vibes. Like it all pretty much takes place at a motel because we're following this young girl named Skylar who works at a motel in this really small town in California. And it's kind of about how one of her classmates, Josh, comes back from the war and he no longer has his leg. And this book just kind of explores their friendship when he returns from the war. And it's just like a really beautiful story. I just remember loving it so much, and I feel like this is one that I really want to reread sometime. But I think this just gives me summer vibes because of the California small town motel vibes. And also because I'm pretty sure it takes place in the summer after they've graduated high school, but don't quote me on that because it's been so long. One of my very recent reads that I felt like would be a perfect summertime book is Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour. While this book is a little bit more heavy and it deals with more serious things like grief and trauma and how those things can really affect a person, I do think the vibe of this book is very summery because we're following this young girl, Mila, who just graduated from high school, and she's going to work as a teacher on the coast of California, and it's like the northern coast of California, so it's all very like beachy and coastal vibes, and everyone who's at this place with her can see these ghosts, and it's just, I don't know, the vibe is just really great. I feel like this would be perfect to read in the summer. One of my favorite young adult hate to love romances is Tell Me How You Really Feel, and this one follows these two girls who are in high school. This one also takes place in Los Angeles, and I feel like that's another reason why it gives me such summer vibes. And this one, honestly, it just put a smile on my face the entire time I was reading it, and it's just so perfect and lighthearted, and I read this one in the summer and I just had the best time with it. Another book that kind of reminds me of this one as well is You Should See Me in a Crown. And this one, it's not exactly a hate to love situation, but it's more like a forbidden love, because this one follows this girl named Liz who decides to run for prom queen so that she can win this scholarship to go to her dream college. But she starts to develop feelings for one of the girls who's competing against her. So it's kind of like the situation where they're both in a competition with each other, but they're also catching feels. So now on to some romances that I think would be perfect for the summer. I'm just gonna hold it up because you already know The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I know if you've been watching my channel for a while now, you're probably like, Gabby, shut the fuck up. And like, you're probably right, but this book is perfect for summer because this book is the most summery book I've ever read. I mean, just look at this cover. Look at it. Look at it. It's summer. It's summer on a cover. But anyways, this book is the most summer vibes because it deals with, you know, a honeymoon with people who are not supposed to be on the honeymoon. It's their siblings' honeymoon, but they end up going instead. And it's like, it's hate to love, you know, they don't like each other, but they're on this honeymoon together, and it's like they're in Hawaii and it's beachy vibes. and it's just the most fun. It's the most fun. I honestly wish that I read this in the summer, but both times that I read this book were in the winter time. Another book that kind of reminds me of like a similar feel to that book is Shipt by Angie Hockman. This book also has the same kind of vibe as the Honeymooners, where there's like hate to love happening, there's forbidden romance, and it's like beachy vibes, like because in this book we're following these two people who work for a cruise company, and they both have to take this cruise together so that they know what they're advertising or what they're promoting to their customers, I guess. And this book was just loads of fun. It's just so cute. They don't like each other. They have to be on this cruise together. It's just the most beachy, perfect summer read. And I have The Roommate by Rosie Danon. While this book doesn't necessarily take place over the summer, I don't know why, I just feel like this would be a perfect summer read just because it's so lighthearted and fun and steamy about this girl who finds out that she's gonna be roommates with this guy who's a porn star. This is definitely a guilty pleasure book for me because I've seen so many of my friends like not really enjoy this book for some reason, and I don't know, I personally loved it so much. I thought it was so much fun, such a good time. And then we have Him by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy, and I think this book would honestly be great to read at any time of year, but I think especially in the summer because if you didn't know, this book follows hockey players Jamie and Wes, aka my biggest OTP of all time. This book is about how they used to go to this hockey camp together when they were like young teen boys, and now they're coming back for the summer to coach at this hockey camp. And so that's why I feel like it would be perfect to read in the summer because it has these like summer hockey camp vibes. And as they come back to this hockey camp to coach together, they discover they have feels for each other, and it's just the best. I am trash for this book. Absolute trash. And then a very recent romance that I just read that I think would be perfect for the summertime is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This book will make you wish you were on a beachy vacation. It is the perfect escapism. And this book is just really adorable. It follows these two characters, Poppy and Alex, who are best friends. They've been best friends since college, and we follow them over a span of 10 years. And every single summer they go on a vacation together because they're best friends. And then we kind of get to see now in the present day they had a falling out and we don't know exactly why, but she asks him to go on one vacation and they haven't gone on a vacation together in a while. And so we kind of get to see them in the present day, and then we get to flash back and see their other vacations that they've taken throughout the years. It's just the most beachy, fun, vacation vibes, summery book that you could imagine, okay? It's so good. And even though this was friends to lovers, which is my least favorite romance trope usually, I actually adored the hell out of this book. It was so freaking cute. Alright, and the last little section of recommendations that I have for you are some thrillers and one horror book that I think would actually be perfect to read in the summer. The first one is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and this one is the only horror book that I put on this list because I feel like this is just the perfect horror book for summer. I personally read this during Summerween last year, and it's just the perfect, it's like the most summery horror book that I've ever read. Even on the back here it says, this book packs all of the magic of a summer horror flick, and I feel like that's just accurate. And if you couldn't guess from the title of this book deals with these two young girls. I think it takes place in the 80s, I'm pretty sure, and one of the friends gets possessed, and then she has to deal with that, and it's just like a wild, wild story. Another thriller that I always recommend to read during the summer is The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. I do think all of Riley Sager's books are really fun and good to read in the summer, but with the other ones I always recommend them more for the fall time. But with this one especially, I recommend it for the summer because this one all takes place at like a summer camp. And this one's just so much fun because we follow, like, there was this camp back in the day. All these girls went missing. The camp had to close. And now we're following the same camp like 15 years later, and the only girl from the group of girls that didn't go missing is coming back to the camp to be a camp counselor. And this book is just so, oh my god, I reread this again last year and it's just so much fun. I love the camp vibes and the lake vibes and the way it's like, is this camp haunted or not? Like, you don't know. I mean, I will scream it from the rooftops that you should read this book in the summer. One book that I read earlier this year that I feel like would be really good to read in the summertime is The Wife Life Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins, and this is simply just because I feel like this is one of those books that you would call like a popcorn thriller. I totally stole that term from Crime by the Book. She's one of my favorite Instagrammers, but she always uses that term as like a popcorn thriller that's just like a light-hearted, easy to read, keeps you flipping the pages thriller, you know, it's like a popcorn movie. And I feel like this book really fits that well. Like, it's just easy to read, easy to consume, very fast-paced. You'll probably finish this book within 1 or 2 sittings because you won't be able to put it down. And this one just has those, like, you know, rich people murder vibes. Like, I don't know how else to say it. We're following this main character, Jane, who gets involved with this man, Eddie, whose wife went missing 6 months ago. And that's all we know going in. And then I also think Finlay Donovan is Killing It would be a really fun summer read, just because this book gave me major Dead to Me vibes, and I also would agree that Dead to Me is like the perfect summer show. But we're just following this character Finlay, who's in a Panera Bread with her agent when she's discussing her next book, which involves murder, and somebody overhears her and assumes that she's like a hitman. And so they offer her $50,000 to kill their husband. And she gets involved in all of the shenanigans. And it's just the most fun thriller that I've read this year. And then lastly, I think another really great summer reading recommendation is The Hunting Wives by May Cobb. This cover just screams summertime to me. This book is just so great. It's like Mean Girls, but all of the women are moms now. We're following this woman named Sophie who's recently moved from Chicago to a very small town in Texas, and she gets involved with this group of women who call themselves the Hunting Wives. There's this woman named Margot Banks who is like the Regina George, like the queen bee of their group, and Sophie starts to get kind of like obsessed with her, and she joins their group of the Hunting Wives, and all of this crazy shit starts to happen. This book just has the most like summery wine lake murder vibes. It's just such a great time. Like, this was one of my favorite thrillers that I read this year. Right, well, those are all of my summer book recommendations for you today. I even put on this new shirt that I got that I'm not sure if I like yet. It feels kind of summery, but it also maybe makes me look like a grandma. I'm not sure yet. I'm still feeling out the vibe of this shirt. But yeah, those are all of the summer books. Let me know, do you agree with any of books on this list? Like, do you think these books give you summery vibes? Or what are some of your summery book recommendations? Like, what are books that you think would be absolutely perfect to read in the summertime? I have so many books that I'm looking forward to reading this summer, and I cannot wait. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I will see you very soon with another video. Bye.